Hi guys, feel free to like and subscribe if you're getting something out of this content, and if you are interested in private coaching, go to www.coachcat.org. In this video, this is a sensitive subject. What I'm going to talk about is sex and the narcissist, and I don't have any notes, so it's sort of off the cuff here. So what is the purpose of, why does the narcissist have sex? Well, a few different reasons. One is to gain narcissistic supply, especially if they're the somatic narcissist. It's a way for them to get validation by, performing well. Another thing that they use sex for is to hook the codependent, the empath, or the victim, is to hook them in. Because when you're having sex with another person consistently, normal, healthy people, oxytocin is happening. It's a bonding chemical. You're going to bond with the person that you're having consistent sex with, typically. But not so with the narcissist, because they are absolutely terrified of intimacy. They cannot do intimacy, right? So what happens is they typically are having sex with multiple different people because that is a way to avoid true emotional intimacy with another human being. Normally people will have sex with another human being, they'll bond, they'll have the bonding chemical, they're having an emotional experience, but not so with the narcissist. That's why a lot of people report that the sex with the narcissist it could be very technically good, but it's very lacking in emotional depth. There's something a little off about it. It's a little blank or empty. It can leave you feeling like sort of a void, where normal sex with normal healthy people, you feel connected, you snuggle, there's cuddling, there's intimacy, it's connection. That's not really what's happening with the narcissist. Quite often, especially with the somatic narcissist, they're sort of sexual deviants, in that they often have comorbidity of pornography addiction. They often can be soliciting prostitutes. They can be having sex with multiple different people. They really love to have sex with married people because it's like the challenge for them, or people that are attached. They just don't have any boundaries around sex. So you'll often see, sometimes it can go really far down a rabbit hole where there's illegal stuff going on, where it's child pornography or just really weird stuff. BDSM, whatever. And I'm not saying everyone who is into BDSM is a narcissist. I'm not suggesting that, but narcissists typically have like this sort of deviance attached to their sex, or they're just into very masturbatory sex, where it's just they're only wanting to have sex really with themselves or with the computer screen, and not with the actual human being, because that they're terrified of being emotionally close to people, right? Because for them, intimacy equates to vulnerability, and they cannot be vulnerable, right? Because part of the narcissist trauma and their defense mechanism is this invulnerability, this mask of invulnerability, where nothing affects them and they don't let anyone in. And that's just part of how they roll. So that's why often they're going to cheat, because they need to have, if they're having multiple sources of connection, sex with all these different people, then, if you're having sex with 20 people at the same time, you're not going to be emotionally intimately invested or connected in one. Even if you have a primary source of supply that you're, say, married to, these people are often, leading double lives. They're having sex with multiple people or having emotional affairs with other people, and they often have like a sex addiction. And you'll notice there's some things like, if there's a lot of people have reported an issue with French kissing. French kissing is very intimate, and a lot of narcissists have a very hard time with French kissing. Other people who are not narcissists can also have that because they have trauma, and they're also avoiding intimacy for whatever trauma-related reason. But that's a sign. If somebody's not willing to French kiss you, but they're willing to have sex with you, that's not a good sign. Also, you might see, like in the love bombing, the sex is very consistent. It's amazing. It's very technically very good. Maybe something slightly off about it, but they're really investing into the love bombing. And then later during the devaluation, they typically will they can stop having sex with their partner completely, or they'll do it sporadically, just to keep that person hooked. But it's like they're using sex for power and control and dominance, to have that person hooked to them, tied to them, with the crumbs, right? Rather than what normal people, healthy people, are using sex to create an intimacy, a connection, a loving reciprocity, building of a bond. But with narcissists, you have to remember this is a one-sided bond. If you are in a relationship with a narcissist, I'm guessing you're probably an empath or an empath codependent, and you're probably giving. Maybe you're a pathological giver. And I say that because it's pathological if you are giving so much of yourself, energy, time, money, resources, all of this, and you're not receiving anything back. If you're giving to that degree and it's hurting you, then that on some level is pathological. If you're unable to stop yourself from over giving in relationships, then you might want to look at that, because that is one of the signs of codependence. So, if you're in this one-sided relationship, you're giving and giving your energy, your time, your resources, your love, right? And you're bonding, because the more you invest into something, the more you invest into a relationship, the more likely you are to bond, because you're really giving a lot. But if you'll notice with a narcissistic relationship, they're not giving, so they're not bonding, right? So it's one-sided. Non-reciprocal. You're giving, you're bonding, they're not giving, they're not bonding. So whatever, if you've been in one of these relationships, it is very one-sided. It's not reciprocal. And if you are a codependent sort of empath, and this is true for you, then I really suggest you look at that and realize that you do not have to overgive in order to be loved and accepted. You can be loved and accepted for just being you. And you don't have to be perfect in order to be loved. You really don't. So start loving yourself. Start giving, have empathy for yourself. Start providing that empathy for yourself, and that caring and that love, all that you put into being externally focused on other people and their needs and fixing them and making everything better for them. Start putting that into yourself. Start reparenting that inner child that was traumatized and wounded, because I believe that codependence and narcissism both come from an early attachment wounding, attachment trauma. If you listen to Pete Walker's book, Healing from Complex PTSD, or Ross Rosenberg's book, The Human Magnet Syndrome, you can learn a lot more about this subject. But it's that deep attachment wound, that abandonment wound. But the good news is, I believe if you're codependent, you have a much better chance of healing, because you're able to face yourself. You're able to perform some self-reflection and some introspection and do some therapeutic work, so that you can heal by learning how to set boundaries, learning how to love yourself, learning how to stop seeking outside validation or other people in order to tell you that you're okay. And especially when you're seeking it from a narcissist who is incapable of providing true empathy, love, compassion, caring to any human being. And it's not personal, realistically. They're just doing what narcissists do. They're pathologically self-centered. They have a deep fear of vulnerability. They look at it as a weakness. And this is, in fact, what makes them so incredibly weak, because they are not sending their true selves. So there's a profound weakness in that. They're not sending them their true selves. They're acting as if they're invulnerable, and that is a facade. We're all interdependent. We're all vulnerable. We're all humans. None of us are perfect, and we all have a lot of room and space that we can grow and become better human beings and more holistic. But narcissists don't see it this way. So in terms of sex, they're using it for supply, validation, control, dominance, to get you hooked, to keep you in their stable of other people that are in their narcissistic harem. I think somebody calls it the harem garage or something, one of these guys on YouTube. So they're using it for all these weird duplicitous reasons that have nothing to do with love, connection, bonding, reciprocity, building connection, and compassion and love. So if you're having sex with them, you're really getting the short end of the stick. And I'm so sorry if this is your experience, but really tune in with your emotional nature. And even if it's technically really good, notice the vacancy, notice the emptiness, notice the emotional poverty that is a part of this sexual relationship. And you deserve better. You deserve love. You deserve connection. You deserve reciprocity. You deserve somebody who wants to be emotionally intimate with you, wants to be intimate, somebody who will kiss you and love you and cherish you. So I don't know if this is helpful, but again, sex with a narcissist, it's all they're having it for all the wrong reasons. And again, I think I mentioned this, but they use it for withholding. They use it to control and punish you as well. If you've, been a bad little girl or a bad little boy, then they will withhold sex from you, especially if they know you want it. If you've been honest and authentic and said, hey, I'd really like to have sex with you, because that's what married people do who love each other, they will use it to punish and control and then throw you a crumb or a bone here and there. But if that's happening, you deserve way, way better than that. So I hope you guys are thriving and doing radical self-care. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.